It's been about a week since Apple surprised us with these new MacBook Pros, and I wanted to give you guys an update on my experience upgrading from my 15-inch, I almost forgot which one it was, to the new 16-inch. Now this video isn't a review, which we are working on and taking our time with to make sure that it's filled with great detailed info that many aren't talking about, but in this video I'll be sharing the real world differences that I noticed as I've been using this new 16-inch MacBook Pro, both the good things and the bad. First off, let's talk about the keyboard. I know a lot of people hated on the butterfly keys, but I wasn't one of them. Upgrading to these new keys did feel better right off the bat, but it wasn't a huge deal to me personally. But I do have to say that I've been pretty lucky with my butterfly keyboards not having any issues. That was until I got used to these new keys and then switched back. Wow, these are way better, and they are not just the old pre-butterfly keys, but from what I could tell, they're the best of both worlds with much larger key travel and the reliability of the pre-2016 keys, fused with the better stability and more mechanical feel of the butterfly keys. Overall, these are a major win. I'm someone that rarely uses my MacBook Pro's mics, so apart from that first little comparison we did during hands-on, I haven't really needed to use the so-called studio microphones that are included with the MacBook Pro because we have a lot of high-quality microphones. But I have watched a few videos on MacBook Pros where YouTubers would switch from their regular mics to the MacBook Pro, and then the MacBook Pro would actually sound a lot better. So I do think that for a lot of people, they're actually gonna be able to use these microphones and upgrade from what they already have, or just not have to buy anything extra. Now let's talk about a slight disappointment, the speakers. Don't get me wrong, they sound fantastic. The bass is much improved and the separation of frequencies due to the extra speakers is great, but my disappointment is volume. It's not bad, still beating out most if not all Windows laptops of similar size, and those that are actually bigger and heavier, but I did have several occasions where I wish that they were louder, just like the 15-inch MacBook Pro that came previously, which are about 3 decibels louder, especially if you're playing back in loud environments, or if you have a bunch of group of people, say, and you want to show a trailer or something like that. It is nice to be able to just crank it up. Now let's talk about that 16-inch display. To be honest, when I was hearing rumors about this new MacBook, I was hoping that with this redesign, we would get something like what Dell offers with their Infinity Edge displays, but nope. The bezels did shrink a bit, but it's not a big enough difference to just jump out at you. Now on the other hand, if you have a 15-inch MacBook Pro, the larger 16-inch display definitely does jump out at you at first, and then when I went back to the 15-inch, that's when I really noticed the difference in screen size and the bezels. With that said, nobody should be upgrading for the larger screen or the better speakers alone. Now what you should upgrade for is the graphics. With the release of the 8-core MacBook Pros, there was a big boost in CPU performance, but the graphics stayed the same, meaning for tasks that really push the GPU, the CPU was actually bottlenecked. So how have the new 7nm AMD Navi graphics been? Well, it's a mixed bag if you already have a Vega 20 as I do. The 550M is definitely much more powerful if you're pushing your graphics to the extreme limits, say in video editing, especially in Bruce X, where I saw a huge difference, or even bigger in Blender, where the 4 gigs of video memory really hammer it and bottleneck the graphics. But in my regular use, real world, even including some video editing using 4K H.264 files in Final Cut, I didn't see that much of a difference. It really matters what you are doing with your computer and how heavy the graphics card is being hit. With that said, if you have a Mac without Vega graphics, you will definitely notice a difference even in easier video editing. Now I will be doing more in-depth detailed testing with video editing across a couple different editing programs and codecs, but that will be on my Max Yuryev channel, so go ahead and check that out. Now where graphics really come in is gaming. The Vega 20 MacBook was the first portable Mac that could play AAA titles semi-decently, and this year's upgrade is a huge one. The 5500M is about 50% faster than the Vega 20, which is a huge improvement just 1 year later after the Vega, but what is even more impressive is the base 5300M, which I also gamed with, and that is almost as powerful as the best option and smokes the Vega 20 while costing $450 less. I know a lot of you guys were asking about Fortnite, so I did play some on macOS and the experience was great. I was getting over 60 FPS at 1440p with mostly high settings, and if you drop the resolution to just under 1080p for perfect scaling, you can play with the settings maxed out, super smooth, no issues at all, and that was actually on the base 16-inch MacBook Pro. We also played the latest Call of Duty with the 5500M using Boot Camp and had a great experience staying above that 60 FPS goal with medium settings at 1440p resolution. Now the base i7-5300 performed basically the same, but we are thinking that is because these are brand new drivers. Boot Camp was just made available to drivers, and I know performance is going to get better. Now this isn't a gaming powerhouse and you shouldn't buy it for gaming, but what is very important is that these base graphics are now about 3 times as fast as just a week ago and can actually compete with Windows laptops like the Dell XPS 15, which has a 1650. Now Apple really emphasized the upgraded cooling in this MacBook Pro, and yes, it does make a difference in performance comparisons, but do you actually notice it in the real world? No, not really. The performance difference is definitely there, but unless you're actually using a timer or running benchmarks, you're not really gonna notice it. So I say it is not enough to warrant upgrading from the same chips in the 15-inch chassis, but one thing that I did notice that was nicer is that the fans are less annoying. The fans themselves have a deeper sound, but it's actually about a decibel louder at full blast. And rendering videos, I did notice the fans more so, but during less intensive tasks and even doing some video editing, the fans run slower, so overall it is definitely an improvement. Now I wish I can say that the battery life is also better, but at this time I really can't tell. I did do some kind of simple, more casual tests, and it actually seemed like the 16-inch was draining more battery, but I don't want to say that until I have some concrete evidence and some more detailed testing, so I'll make sure that is included in the full review. Overall, I am really impressed with the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. It is absolutely a better machine all around, but what is even more important is that the value proposition is massively better, especially with updated apps that use metal. You could honestly get similar, if not better performance this year on a $2,400 machine, not this one right here, but one that I have over there, the base model, compared to last fall's MacBook Pro, which costs over $1,000 more, just like mine right here actually, which does hurt a bit, but at the same time, I am very happy that Apple is making these changes. Go ahead and click above on that circle if you want to subscribe to see our full detailed review, which you do not want to miss, and click over there to see another great MacBook Pro video. This has been Max with Max Tech, and I will see you in the next one.